Well, it's official. We have a full-blown dumpster fire. Grab your marshmallows, everyone. Gather round as I have all the updates for you right here in this video. Let's get right into it. All right, so I do have a variety of updates for you in this video that I'd like to share based on some different announcements that were released today, as well as some different things that happened today, because I think everybody in this community should be aware of what is going on. Just like I've mentioned in previous videos as of lately, all of this is highly correlated and it is going to impact us in some way, shape, or form. Therefore, we need to stay alert as to what is going on and how we're going to be impacted with everything going on. So, all of these different updates are kind of all across the board here, but let's work our way through these one at a time. First off, I do want to take just a minute here and talk about those videos from earlier today, as I did see some questions on those. So let me take just a minute here and briefly run through the details on that. So some of you were wondering, what is going on with this conference? So yes, later this year in September, the president has confirmed that the administration will be hosting a conference that will be specifically focused on hunger and food instability right here in the United States. As I mentioned in that video earlier, this is the first time the conference will take place in 50 years. Actually, it's over 50 years. Since 1969 was the last time that this conference took place, held by Richard Nixon at the time, and there were multiple different programs that came out of that meeting over 50 years ago. So I'm pretty excited to watch this and to see what actually happens during this conference later in September of this year, to see what the administration comes up with or anybody else that's there as far as food programs, food assistance, money, benefits, anything else that may come out of this for the millions and millions of low-income individuals that are struggling right now, especially with food insecurity, right? You've heard all the stories and the reports that I've been talking about as of recently, as far as many more people going to food banks and food pantries just trying to make ends meet right now. So yes, hope that clarifies it, but if you need more details, please go back and watch that video from earlier today. And then of course, I also followed it up with another video talking about now the 32 states. In that video, by the way, I mentioned 29 states. It's now bumped up by another 3 states just in the last few hours here that are now extending those extra SNAP benefits going out. So check out those 2 videos from earlier today, and we lay it all out for you and make it a little bit more clear. So hope that helps to answer some of the questions for some of you that were asking. All right, let's get into some of these other details. But really quickly before we do, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button right down below the video. I am very much dedicated to you and this community to help you out in any way that I possibly can, as well as continue doing all this research every single day, boiling it down into these short videos so that you can stay tuned with what is actually going on in this country, what is going on around the world, and anything that comes up in regards to money, benefits, programs, checks, anything else that we can possibly get our hands on. I want to be right here updating you and making sure that you know about everything going on. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet, and whip out your marshmallows. It's time to go to the dumpster fire and see what's going on. Anyway, yeah, I thought it'd be kind of funny to have this. By the way, this little thing that I have here, it's a straw. I was trying to look for like a stick laying around the house that I could put a marshmallow on, and I found this straw, and I thought, you know what, that'll be good enough. So, just being real with you, I'm using a straw on the end of a marshmallow. So, anyway. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm super cool. All right, anyway. Let me talk you through the details as far as what is going on. All right, so the Energy Department announced today that they will be replenishing the strategic petroleum reserves by about 60 million barrels starting later this year. So later this year, they're going to start negotiating who will actually take the bids as far as replenishing the stockpile. Now, here's the thing. Does that mean later this year it's going to be fully replenished? No. Actually, according to the report, they're actually saying that it's going to take several years to replenish these 60 million barrels. So, remember, about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago now, the president was out announcing that they're going to release 1 million barrels of oil from the strategic reserves every single day for the next 6 months. 180 million barrels will be released. And now they're announcing today they're going to replenish it with 60 million barrels. That's 1/3 of the total amount that they're taking. So they're taking out 180 million barrels, but they're going to replenish it with 160. So anyway, just want to throw that out there, but they will be actually working on that a little bit later this year, taking bids on that, and then of course over the course of many, many years, they're going to actually start to replenish it with 60 million barrels. So Anyway, at least they're going to put a little bit of oil back into the reserves. As we know, they're trying to lower gas prices right now, but it's not exactly working all that well. They're still releasing 1 million barrels a day, but yet gas prices are going back up. They went from 433 about 2 months ago down to about 410, again on a national average around 410, and now they're making their way back up to around 420 as far as the national average for 1 gallon of gas. So yeah, it bottomed out, but it's making its way back up again. So oil was kind of on a tear once again today. But again, we can talk about all that stuff later. All right, so that came out of the energy department today. All right, so let's quickly talk about an announcement out of Bill Gates. Now again, this is kind of a little bit out there, but I want you to be aware of what's going on here. Now again, there's varying opinions on Bill Gates, and he's a super rich person, one of the richest people in the world, but that's all beside the point. I think we can all agree Bill Gates is incredibly smart, right? He's brilliant, right? I think we can all probably agree on that. Whether you like him or you don't, doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is he's very, very smart. But here's what he's predicting. He was out recently in a statement and said that there is a pretty high possibility that we have not seen the end or even the worst of COVID. So yeah, right? Remember earlier this year and the end of last year, we were seeing over 1 million cases a day, like 1.2 million cases a day of COVID. Well, Bill Gates is predicting that there's a percentage chance that we have not seen either the worst of COVID or even the end of COVID quite yet. He's predicting that we could even see a more kind of lethal variant coming out still. So let's hope that that's not the case. Let's hope that Bill Gates is actually wrong with this. But, he kind of knows a few things, right? So anyway, we'll have to see what actually comes out here as far as if he's actually accurate with this or what's actually going on. But again, COVID cases are starting to tick up once again across European countries as well as right here in the United States. We did bottom out around 30,000 cases a day maybe a couple weeks ago, and now we're inching back up to around the 50,000 cases a day mark. And across a lot of these big cities out there right now, they're starting to implement some of these mask recommendations. So they're not actually implementing mask mandates, but rather they're recommending masks once again. So are we counting down our days until we get back into masks with the mandates? Well, I don't know. Again, I'm not here to instill opinions on that. I'm just simply saying, oh, man, I don't know. I don't know if we're ready for that again, right? At least let's get us through summer. Let's be real with ourselves. Wearing a mask in the summer is not necessarily a fun thing. You know what I mean? It's not that easy to breathe with a mask when it's 90 degrees or it's 100 degrees and it's nice and humid out, right? Again, not taking sides with the whole mask thing. I'm just simply saying, at least get us through summer, right? Wait until the cold season again. I'm gonna be real with you. Wearing a mask in the winter, it's not all that bad. Keeps the face a little warm, right? So anyway, just throwing that out there, letting you know what's actually going on right now. Also, let me talk about this for just a second here. Again, I know that this doesn't really pertain to a lot of you here in the community, but again, we gotta watch all this stuff closely. We need to know what's going on because it's going to impact us. Here's the thing. The stock market got smacked around a little bit today. The indices were down anywhere between about 3.5% and 4%, depending on what we're looking at. The Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell 2000, the S&P 500, all of these, they were down anywhere between about 3 and 4%, depending on which one you're looking at. So it's kind of interesting because the market was up about 3% yesterday. So it gave back everything today plus a little bit. So kind of interesting how that works, right? So anyway, that went on today. At the same time, mortgage rates on a 30-year fixed mortgage. Again, I get it. Some of you don't really care about this stuff. But again, at the end of the day, we got to watch this stuff very, very closely. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate actually spiked up to the highest rate that we've seen since 2009. 5.27% is where the fixed rate mortgage actually went up to today. That's a very high number considering about a year ago we were below or right around 3%. That's massive because here's the thing. If you're in the market to buy a house right now or to refinance or anything like that, just that interest rate alone is going to make payments significantly higher, especially for somebody who may be shopping for a house right now. A lot of people shop for their house kind of tight, close to what they can afford, right? Well, here's the thing. Because interest rates are going up, that means the payment, the interest portion of the payment is going to continue moving higher. Therefore, the amount of house that somebody can buy these days is getting less and less and less. And guess what? rates are going to continue moving higher because the Federal Reserve is going to continue raising interest rates, what sounds to be like about half a percentage point through the rest of the year, through the rest of all their meetings. And again, a lot of this is pegged to the federal funds rate, which is exactly what the Federal Reserve is actually pegging with their FOMC meetings, like we talked about yesterday, right? So again, some interesting stuff going on out there. And again, I know that some of this does not pertain to many people here in the community, but at the end of the day, if the cost of borrowing money increases, therefore, that just means any outstanding loans or debts or auto loans, personal loans, lines of credit that we may have, business loans, all kinds of different things are increasing in price. It costs more to borrow money these days. That's going to impact everybody, right? Check this out. If you think inflation is hot in this country, don't get me wrong, it's very hot in this country. The inflation that we're seeing now in this country, the United States, is the hottest that we've seen since the early 80s. Around 1981 was the last time we saw inflation this hot. But check this out. The country of Turkey. This is unbelievable. I can't believe this is even happening. I mean, seriously, this is unbelievable. In the last 6 months, the country of Turkey has seen inflation go from 20%, which, by the way, 20% inflation is very, very high. That is a lot of inflation, right? Here's the thing. They've seen inflation go from 20% in the last 6 months to 70%. Could you imagine? 70% inflation. That's what they call hyperinflation. Actually, that's more like parabolic inflation. I don't really know what you're going to do about that one. That's like one of these situations, like a Venezuela type of situation, or maybe like a Zimbabwe type of situation where this inflation gets so out of hand that it basically collapses the currency in that country. So we never ever want that here in the United States. If people are struggling at 8.5% inflation, which don't get me wrong, 8.5% inflation is nearly historic for this country. Of course, it's not. We've seen higher inflation than this in this country, but the fact of the matter is 8.5% is very, very high. We have not seen inflation like this in 40 years. So it's very, very high in this country. Could you imagine, though, even if our inflation went from 8.5% where it's currently sitting right now, which, by the way, the next report will be out here in about a week. Actually, less than a week it'll be out, so kind of curious to see what that one actually comes up with. But could you imagine if our inflation went up to 20%? And then just imagine if it went up to 70% like Turkey. I don't even know what you'd do. I mean, seriously, they've got to be doing something over there to like print money and give it to the people. But that's the thing is that's just going to exacerbate the whole inflation situation even more. So glad I'm not in Turkey and glad I'm not the person running the country of Turkey because I would not want to be in that position right now. Not a good thing, right? Now, at the same time, there are multiple millions and millions of people in China that are still locked down as of COVID. There are these COVID restrictions and COVID camps. There are literally fences surrounding different residential areas, keeping people in their homes as a result of the lockdowns over there. Well, this is just going to continue to tighten up the supply chain issues that we're dealing with right here in this country going forward with everything going on. So I know that a lot of us are thinking about it and saying, okay, it's China. Why do we really care if they're locked down? Well, we do care a lot because a lot of what goes on over there is going to impact us directly as far as the supply chain issues, the products, the goods, everything that we need on our store shelves. So once again, this may lead to even more more increased prices, higher inflation, and even less products and goods on our store shelves. Because if they're not working over there and they're not manufacturing what we need and in the quantities and the supply that we need here in this country, once again, it's going to possibly lead to further shortages going forward. So a lot of weird stuff out there right now. I mean, seriously, there's so many different weird reports that came out today. So many different weird things that are happening once again today, and I wanted to share some of this in this video. And honestly, I didn't really even know what to title this video. That's why I just called it just a straight up dumpster fire, because some of the things that we're dealing with right now, like the market rolling over and getting smacked around today, the interest rates on mortgages going way up over 2.5% or so just in the last year. Inflation going through the roof right now. Just all kinds of different things that are going on right now. Seriously, it is so weird with everything going on. And I thought, you know what? I just kind of want to break it all down. And then, of course, that prediction out of Bill Gates. Let's just hope that he's wrong about that. But here's the thing. If there does happen to be another variant of COVID that comes in, which, by the way, there's only like 20 different variants right now. which I don't really know if I can confirm that. I just threw that number out there. I have no idea how many variants there are. All I know is that there are multiple different variants of COVID out there right now. There's many different variants, and Bill Gates is saying, hey, we could have a much more severe variant that hits the table here. And again, he's actually saying that there's a high likelihood that we have not even seen the worst of the variants yet. That's kind of scary, right? Especially with everything else going on around the world and everything else going on. I mean, seriously, do we need to add something else to our plate? Probably not, right? Probably don't want to see that going on. Anyway, a lot of weird stuff out there. Anyway, this is the update that I have for you as of right now. And again, hope you enjoyed this. Yeah, sorry, no roasting of marshmallows here in this video, but still thought it was kind of fun, right? To have a little prop as a marshmallow and a straw type of stick. But anyway, still the same thing at the end of the day. But anyway, I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be to keep you updated with everything going on, because it's all going to impact us in some way, shape, or form. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe down below, as I do get more details on any of these updates that are going on, as well as money, programs, benefits, anything else out there. Of course, I'll be right back here for you, breaking it all down, letting you know what is actually going on and what you can take advantage of with all of these changes as things are starting to hit the wire. So, hope you're having a nice day. Enjoy, subscribe down below, and I'll catch you again later in